What is going on, Florida State family? Seminole Nation in the 863 tribe is your boy POLK, a.k.a. A-Lo, a.k.a. the goddamn truth. What is going on, my peoples? What are we on? We're on episode 69, The Hangover, running strong, running long, doing our thing. Man, college football, man. Sometimes I don't know if the off season is better or the actual games. The off season is insane, and it ain't even really started. It ain't even really started. and everything from the portal, recruiting, legal matters. If you haven't heard some of this craziness that's going on, it is just ridiculous, man. But today we're going to talk about, obviously, we're going to talk about the portal. As you see, my favorite person in the back, we're going to talk about, obviously, the portal, obviously, recruiting. We're going to talk about Sam and his situation. My opinions on it, obviously. I don't know anything. I just give my personal opinion on things. So I'm going to talk about that. I kind of touched on this the other day. I want to talk about some portal targets, which is crazy because I decided to do a little homework and I did a list of potential targets. Again, no idea if FSU is even talking to 90% of these people I'm about to name. Just a quick list of who I looked at, who I thought maybe fit some physical dimensions, that we should maybe take a look at. And the crazy thing is, the thing doesn't even start until Monday when there's going to be a surplus of names. Hey, Sporadics, we can talk offline, man. We can definitely talk offline. Because I don't know if that's something you want to, share to people, but we can definitely talk offline. And then I got a list of names from Florida State that I think, not that they might, not that I want them to, not that I, just some guys who, in my opinion, it makes sense for them to be looking at the portal for obvious reasons. So that's what we're gonna hit on today. But as always, before we do any of that, it's time to pay some bills. So hit my like button. Subscribe if you are not subscribed. Share the video. Share the video. Let them know we are live on the livest channel on YouTube. Yes, we are. Most interactive channel on YouTube. Yes, it is. The realest channel on YouTube. You know it's to be true. So hit my like button, subscribe, and share. Those are really the main three things you got to do to support. Donations are cool. But hit the like button, subscribe and share. Subscribe and share. Subscribe and share. And that's how we get to continue to grow. My goal is to try to hit 2,000 subs before the beginning of next year. There's really no reason why I shouldn't hit that goal. It's not even a tough goal. Well, theoretically, it shouldn't be a tough goal because I'm at 1,700. But for some reason, a lot of people watch. When I check my numbers, my analytics, a lot of people watch but don't subscribe. It's kind of weird. A lot of people watch but don't subscribe. And as always, before we get started, we're going to hit a roll call up. So I'm going to scroll up. And I know it's a little late in here, but that was by design. So you guys were in the comment section early. But we're going to scroll up here and get this roll call going. Peter Shields, member of the 863 Tribe. Joe Johnson. Island Boy. Jonathan McIntosh. Hypnotic. Sane 305. Todd Pope. Nicholas Johns. Joe Johnson. Loading. Matthew Rawson. William Wright. Priscilla Chestnut. Matt Will. Raul Torado, member of the 863 Tribe. Florida State Love, member of the 863 Tribe. 226 Tim. FSU World. Jonathan, did I get you already? Well, if I didn't, I'm getting you again. Jonathan McIntosh. Randy Yates in the building. Jalen was good with you. As we already saw, Sporadics in the building. EMG in the building, Damien's in the building, Champs 99 in the building, Gaming Wizard, Michael Adams, Chad Kinsler, Brandon Brazier, Lewis, Tyler Hedden, member of the 863 Tribe, Vontae B, member of the 863 Tribe, R. Davius, Briley, Mayan King, Big Kane, Jay Adams, Michael Adams. I don't know if I got you or not, but yeah, got you again if I did. Marcus Lewis, member of the 863 Tribe. Marcus W. Irv Gotti, member of the 863 Tribe. Raymond James, Irv Wallace, Adang Bay, Arnie. We in the building. We in the building, damn it. Hit the like button. We in the damn building tonight. Where do we start? Well, let's just start with the news. The most recent news. Sam McCall, as of last night. D. Thompson in the building. Montre, what's good? Sam McCall decided to finally, officially, I say, or should I say, either one, finally, officially, Sam McCall decided to hit that portal. Now, y'all know my thoughts on Sam originally, and they haven't quite changed, but there have been, as certain information has kind of leaked, my opinion is ever so slightly changed. About what was it, 2-3 weeks right after the Miami game, Insane Ma was good. Right after the Miami game, he drops, of course, the portal letter, only to renege, if that's the right word here, or pull it back in, say it was an emotional outburst. And he, to his credit, he finished the season without any public, without him getting on the social medias and doing all of those things, right? Which is one of the things I defended about him. I said, he's still practicing. He's not on social media going off. Didn't know the reason why he wanted to leave. It seemed like an odd time to drop a portal note right after you beat a team 45-3, not just a team, the JV team down south. You beat them 45-3 and you drop a portal. Okay, well, cool. You feeling some type of way. So for the most part, Brandon B was good, man. For the most part, I defended the notion that if he wanted to go, he can go. And that, at 18, 19, man, not all of us make the most sound decisions, or even, hell, when I was 18, 19, I couldn't tell you if I was going left or right, up or down. I was just going. You feel me? And I think most of y'all that are older have those same stories. And some of you who are younger probably are experiencing it right now. So there's that. We get to yesterday or yesternight, and it's official, right? Now, a couple of things happen in this time between last night and today. An IG video happened, which I don't know if anybody's seen that. He's been very active on his Instagram. So, quick disclaimer. I'm going to say this. McCall got to go, and this is any player, not just Sam. Go where you're happy, where you feel wanted, needed, all of those things. Like Mike Norvell said, and I think all of us have always said this. We want people that want to be here. So first and foremost, I want Sam to go where he's happy. I honestly do mean that above anything else. Go ball wherever you go. Go ball out. That's the disclaimer. To get into the actual gist of it, there's a couple of things that I have a problem with. the notion of what he's giving off, of he was promised playing time or he was promised starting. First of all, sometimes we look at these portal kids and we go, what could the staff have done better? How could the staff allow this to happen? Listen, man, they kept this man on kickoff return when he didn't, frankly, deserve to be on the unit. Like, they tried to get him involved in some way, shape, or form. Trey Benson should have been our kickoff returner from day one. The first time Trey Benson touches the ball on a kickoff, he cribs it. Come on, man. But they understood that they could use Benson in other ways. Give the young kid a chance to be involved in the game plan. Have a chance to be involved. So it's not a situation where the coaches I don't think, did their due diligence. That's number one. Number two, the notion that he was even promised a starting position or playing time to begin with is absurd. I don't believe for a second, and I haven't always defended this staff. I mean, if you listen to me more than a day, you know this. But the notion that he was promised anything is absolutely ridiculous. One, the position he played. And two, I'm not one. Dylan Gibbons was a transfer. Go listen to Dylan Gibbons' interview. Now, unless you think Dylan Gibbons is a liar, which I do not, Dylan Gibbons was a transfer portal player. Every single person knew Dylan Gibbons was transferring to be a starter. Dylan Gibbons was told he is not being guaranteed anything. He's going to come in here and work for it. I believe him when he says that. I damn sure believe Atkins told him that. I do not believe for a second McCall was promised anything but an opportunity to compete. Jamie Robinson's in that backfield. Akeem Dent's in that backfield, or DB, defensive backfield. Sam McCall is a natural safety, so he was never going to start over all ACC first team player 2 years running and a fringe all ACC guy in Akeem Dent, or at least he played like that last year. He was never going to play. So they even moved him to a position like corner where there was a little bit more playing opportunity. We weren't as deep at corner because not only did you have Jamie and Dent as lockdown starters, Shaheem was emerging and has emerged. Shaheem was in the building, creeping, threatening even those starters. Jaquez McKellen, a senior, a steady, reliable guy who you can put in and not have to worry about blown coverages. And McCullen's probably not going to make the NFL, but he was a good enough college player where you put him in situations and didn't have to worry. You weren't going to play over him. And I ain't even talking Sidney Williams. But we were too deep at the position for you to ever get any playing time. And then at corner again, I believe there was more opportunity at corner. But Sam's not a natural corner, in my opinion. So I never saw it happening. The only person, he wasn't better than AZ, and that was apparent day one by anybody who had any access to the team in practices. Sam and AZ was the clear-cut favorite. So, with all of that said, I think some of the stuff that McCall was alluding to was disingenuous. I don't believe he was ever promised anything. Just because the position he plays in the room he was going to. Right? I believe Sam has all the potential in the world, and had he stayed, he could have grown into that potential. Just be careful, Sam, because what you're turning into with a few of your little Instagram posts, and you're free to do it, obviously. You can do what you want to do. But don't make the mistake of people that were rooting for you. I'll still root for you in life, but if You want to be the ops, go up by all means. Throw the orange jersey on your locker if you want to. Go. But be careful. There's another DB that talked a lot, had a lot to say. Yeah. And barbecue chicken. Just be careful. Just be careful. Because this fan base can be pretty cutthroat. I think there was a lot of people in this fan base rooting for you. But be careful when you post stuff on your Instagram. I'm coming for you. Tell your coach I'm coming next year. You know, things of that nature. It's cool, troll, funny. But a lot of y'all, a lot of them former players, they learned to find out the hard way. And 12 ain't the only one. It's other players that learned the hard way. So just be careful. I'm rooting for Sam. If he goes to the ops, I won't be rooting for him as much. But I wish nothing but the best for him. But the extracurricular stuff after you've left the team, it's not necessary. The same way I'll say from the media. See, this is what I don't like about media. And obviously, I'm just a light-skinned dude on YouTube, so I don't know anything. But what I don't like about media is, which always seems disingenuous to me, is they don't ever report stuff when it's happening. They wait till after. They wait till after to start saying things. And that's with a bunch of situations. There weren't any reports during the season that Sam McCall wasn't a hard worker and all this other stuff. I'm not saying whether it's true or false. It may very well be true. And to a certain degree, I understand it. Mike Norville don't want you bashing his players in the media. You probably would get your, backstage pass revoked or your media pass, whatever the hell that thing is called. So to a degree, I get it. But we don't ever report stuff until after the fact. So now all the reports come out that Sam wasn't a hard worker. Sam didn't learn to play. Again, may be true. I would just drop some hints of that during the season so we can kind of have an idea what's going on. Because to me, what it looks like, oh, a player's gone. Let's try to taint their name. Again, I'm not saying it's false necessarily. Just don't like the optics of it personally. Whether it's true or not, it may or may not be. I don't like the optics of, well, the kid's gone now. By the way, he sucked. He wasn't a hard worker. He was X, Y, and Z. Allude to some of that during the season. I don't know if that's smart or not, but I think people would like to know certain things. I don't know. I don't know if there's a balance to it, if I could be honest with you. I don't know if there's a balance to it. I just never liked the optics of it. Again, maybe true. It is what it is. I don't want to waste too much more time on Sam. He's gone. I have no idea where he ends. A lot of people, I do think he attempts to land at one of the big two. Obviously, there's a big three. Obviously, he won't be landing here. So I do think he'll try to go to Miami or Florida. Jackson State wouldn't surprise me. But we're not too sure if Deion's going to be coaching there next year. If Deion's not coaching there, I don't think he goes there. If Deion's still coaching there next year, it would not shock me if he went to Jackson State one bit. The thing about, my personal belief, if I was to pick a team that he goes to at a Miami in Florida, I think he goes to Miami over Florida, and not because of Cromartie. But because I think Miami has a more desperate need for him, where I don't think Florida has that same desperate need. Just my opinion. There. So again, I don't want to waste too much more time on Sam. And this wasn't going to be this isn't a Sam McCall bash. It's just my thought on it. And ultimately what I think happened or how it played out. Honestly, what I think happened, I think is definitely a mix of he didn't play he didn't play how he, as much as he maybe thought, but also there are rumors. Again, I can't verify any of this. There are also rumors that he tried to get out of his initial letter of intent, which again makes sense to me. That when Hunter pulled what he pulled, Sam tried to get out his, and remember, Sam McCall was actually the first letter sent in, which he tried to get out of it initially. Makes a little bit of sense to me. He tried to stick through it. Ultimately, he didn't want to be here. So he's free to go and be wherever he sees fit. Work hard, man, and go out there and again show people your true talent. Because I believe FSU gave you a chance on the kick return team, and you didn't impress anybody. But that doesn't mean you can't get better and impress people in the future. So again, not gonna waste too much more time on Sam. I will hear some of y'all's comments though. So let's get into the comment section. I'm gonna scroll up here because I know a lot of people have a lot to say about this. I know Sporadics was dropping some stuff in here too, so I want to go back up and find a couple comments. Him leaving was the right decision for FSU, and him, I believe he got it right. Oh, that's good. See, I don't disagree with you, honestly. I wholeheartedly agree. I think it's the right decision for both. You don't want a player that doesn't want to be here if you're Florida State, and if you're Sam, you want to go someplace where you want to be. So I'm with you. I am with you. What's up, Adam? He says kids from every program are leaving. They don't want to work or compete. Some don't, but some, not all. And I've talked about before, not all of them are in for that reason. There's obviously other circumstances, but yeah. There was no indication that he was ready to play. Agreed there. Nothing promising in this world but death and taxes. You ain't lying, man. You ain't lying. It's this generations of kids where they too caught up in their high school rankings. They really don't want to compete. Everything must be given. I told you, boy, Terrence Sam was terrible on kick. Y'all thought I was killing. Well, I just was trying to give him a chance. I just was trying to give him a chance. It was a freshman. Agreed. Sam didn't want to be here once Travis didn't come. Hell, look at Demore, a highly rated recruit. You don't see him crying or transferring out yet. You don't see him crying, but transferring out, we'll see what happens there. I'm speaking McNamara into existence. That's not going to happen, bro. And Altmaier's definitely not going to happen. Joe, first of all, we don't need to waste the scholarship on a quarterback in the portal unless Travis leaves. And I don't think Travis leaves. He was never promised anything but the chance to compete for a position. The narrative has been consistent between so many players. Hunter Washington showed good character when he transferred. Sam McCall is going about it in an immature way. McCall doesn't have the wiggle and extra gear to be a kick returner. Sam should have stayed until his time. AZ is by far the better athlete. I agree with this. I think Altmaier goes to Arizona State as well. What up, VJ? Yeah, y'all know I was talking about 12 and 6 too. 6 was another one who, while 6, who is 6? 6 Woodbay or 6? Because I'm talking Woodbay or 6. Was Woodbay 9 or 6? I don't know. I can't even remember. I know he was 9 or 6. Woodbay always held himself with class, but he threw subliminals as well. I'm just scrolling through, guys. I mean, Panama, you make a great point. Being the portal, especially in the portal that has a ton of names, you're not guaranteed to find a home. Now, I do think Sam will find a home, but you're not guaranteed to find one. I don't believe. Adam says he don't think Miami will offer him. So that's interesting. Avonte is in the portal. We'll talk about a little bit of that later. Hit that like button. Well, it's already been confirmed that they would. You can go talk to a lot of former players who said if the portal was the way it is now, not only they would have hit it, but they also can look back and say they're kind of lucky that it wasn't, because they wouldn't have the experience and growth that they had. So yeah, players would have hit the portal back then. It doesn't mean it's always the right decision, right? He went to TCU, right? I don't think. I mean, we can look it up. I don't think Corey Wren. Let's see. You know what? 226 with a question out of left field that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But I respect this question because I do believe he plays for TCU, and I would be interested to see if he's playing for a potential playoff team, if he's actually like making plays on said team. Um, I am going to Google Corey Wren. I found him, and I'm going to see if I can find some stats on him. Maybe Corey Wren proved me wrong, and maybe he went to TCU and actually balled and actually did something and contributed to a. He has 6 attempts for 34 yards. A long of 2. And 2 receptions for 2 yards. So yeah. Now that we're past that, shout out to Corey Wren. Okay, so we were talking about the same person. 9-6. 9-6. What up, Zay? What up, Zay? Y'all laughing at me because, well, told y'all about Corey Wren. Y'all gonna listen to me one of these days. Adam says I don't see McCall getting an offer, especially when from you guys. Maybe not from Miami, but I think McCall will get offered by somebody. Let's transition, man, to this portal though. I mean, since we're talking about offers, hey man, I told y'all about that dude. I told y'all he wasn't a football player; he was a track star. Told y'all that the day we recruited him. But at least he's in the playoffs, bro. I mean, hey, who cares? At least he's in the playoffs, right? I can't say nothing because Florida State ain't in the playoffs. At least he in the playoffs. So shout out to Corey Wren. Shout out to Corey Wren. Seriously, shout out to Corey Wren. I'm glad he's probably happy where he's at, in all seriousness. Oh, the rankings. The portal rankings already exist, pretty girl. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. The portal, man. So we're talking about the portal. Sam hits. Avante Williams hits. Now, I want to address Avante. Avante's a talented kid. He's also a kid that comes with a lot of baggage. And I've seen a lot of Florida State fans clamor for Avante Williams. Now, I'm going to say this. From a talent perspective, I'm with you guys. And this isn't necessarily me. This is just what I think this coaching staff will or won't do. I don't see this coaching staff pursuing a guy like Avante Williams. Everybody makes mistakes. You're allowed to grow and learn from said mistakes as long as you don't. His case has been resolved. She decided not to press charges, if I am remembering that correctly. She dropped any charges, but he still got suspended for 6 games last year. The thing that I always said about Avante, and I'm not here to demonize him or anything of that nature, you don't suspend a player for 6 games if they're innocent. She simply dropped the charges. Why wouldn't she drop the charges? I believe Avante has 3 kids by this young lady. Why would she ruin her potential bag for the future? If he's looking like an NFL player, why would she not drop the charges? I said this a year ago, so this isn't anything new that I'm saying. We spoke on this when it happened. Miami fans didn't want to hear it. Might be singing a different tune now that he's transferred out. I don't know. I'm not here to say whether he's guilty or innocent of anything. I'm just telling you how I see it. And I'm also telling you, I know he has 2 for sure. I think he has 3. What I am going to tell you is I don't think Mike Norvell's not going to target Avante. I don't believe Avante is again talented player. I don't believe Mike would spin the block on Avante for, again, obvious reasons. So again, my opinion, I know he's talented. I know you guys might be looking at him as like, oh, we should. It's not gonna happen. I don't believe it's gonna happen. I'd be shocked if Mike Norvell took a kid like that. So, I just told you, yeah. Well, it was a domestic. It was a domestic incident between him and his girlfriend. I think he was accused of throwing her down some stairs. Domestic. I don't know the details. I'm not even gonna pretend like I know the details. I do know it was a domestic issue where she dropped charges, but he still served a 6-game suspension at Miami. And like I said, Gaming Wizard just said we need it. So I knew these comments were gonna come. And there it is, a Miami player basically telling you what I just said. Great talent, but he's got to get his stuff right, on and off the field, right? Yeah, 3 kids. Yep. Man, y'all didn't know any of this? Man, this was big news last year. Y'all just might have forgot, but this was definitely big news last year. Oh, he's a check. She had to catch the beats and suck it up. Oh wow, 3 kids, kind of insane. I know he had 2. I think he had 2 at the time of the incident. I believe he has 3 with this girl now, or he might have 2 with her. And I'm pretty sure he has 3. So yeah. I don't believe so either. None of them that are currently in the portal, no. Now, there is one safety. I forget this dude's name. I actually think he was committed to Florida State at one point. And the only reason I would think FSU might be interested is because he has some size and some length. I forget his name. You guys might even know what I'm talking about. Because at the time, I said FSU should think about spinning the block on him. But as of right now, I don't think any of the Miami players currently in the portal are in the cards. Oh, hell yeah. Now, if James was at the portal, absolutely. I don't know if James's pride would let him come to Florida State. But I would, we would do right by James. Miami ain't doing right by James, in my opinion. So one thing is for certain, after that last portal class this staff brought in, I trust these coaches fully. I'm along for the ride. Let's talk about this. I personally put together a list. I compiled a rough draft of current portal players or players who have declared that I think FSU should give a look at. Now, 100% transparency, I didn't look at stats. I didn't look at any legal or disciplinary issues that some of these players might be in the portal for. If they are, I don't know. I simply looked at measurables, where they were ranked in high school, and how many years of eligibility they had. So I kind of want to run down this list, get some of you guys' thoughts. And the crazy thing is, I came up with a pretty decent list. And again, the big names haven't even touched the portal yet. Some of the biggest names probably don't touch the portal, probably won't even touch the portal Monday. Some of the biggest names probably don't touch the portal till after the college football playoff is complete. Because, some of these kids want to get that ring and then hit the portal. So this list is definitely going to change. But I just thought it'd be fun to throw some names out there, get some names familiar. There are some names that I'm, wouldn't mind, again, taking a stab at. Yeah, that's the guy I'll talk about. So first person on that list is a guy we all know. Wide receiver out of Oregon, Dante Thornton. I actually get again. We talked about a little bit the other day. I think there's some smoke there. Be very interested to see what happens with his recruitment out of the portal. I think there's some mutual interest. But there's probably some other teams. Like I know USC's interested. But he's originally from Maryland, so I don't know if he's trying to go back out to the east, if he's trying to stay out west. Those are things that I don't know. I know Jordan Travis has I don't want to say he's reached out to him, but he posted him on his IG. So, I mean, there it is. We'll see. But Dante Thornton, man, 6'5" guy. That's a guy I want. And who knows? No, I said USC, right? I said Florida State. Hell, Miami might be in the mix. He did play a year or what, like a year or so under Mario. It's probably a player that Mario should be interested in if they're trying to revamp the roster and overhaul it. So Dante Thornton, man, that's a name I think Florida State fans should get acquainted with. Next person on this list might be a name that you're not quite familiar with, but I think he's an intriguing player. He doesn't necessarily fill a need, but he's a Tallahassee native out of Austin Peay. DeAndre McCray, wide receiver. Had like over 1,000 some odd yards. He's not a big receiver. He's more your small, shifty guy. I believe he's he'll be like a sophomore next year, so you get plenty of eligibility with him. He could be a return guy for you. I think he's a versatile weapon that I think if you have a spot open for him, I would not be mad. Right? He's not the big name, but he's a name that could fulfill some needs if need be. If nothing else, give you the depth. And I think every team can use that shifty slot guy. We're kind of targeting bigger body receivers, which I'm all for. But you also need those guys that can move in space a little shiftier, maybe quicker. Just for matchup purposes, I'm with your Herb. I think we're good at receiver too, but Dante Thornton to me is a talent you don't pass up. And with DeAndre McCray, again, if you have a spot open, I wouldn't mind. If you fulfill all the other needs and you have a spot, again, Tallahassee native, it wouldn't be so bad. It wouldn't be so bad. You guys all know about Joshua Braun, offensive tackle at a UF. I'm actually looking at he's per crystal ball to Arkansas. So I don't know if I know he visited. I know he was at the Florida game, but I don't know if we land this one. I saw a crystal ball to him to Arkansas, but he's a big, big guy. So that's a name to look for. Obviously, we're gonna definitely vet the offensive lineman. Stephen Herron Jr., DN, out of Stanford. This guy, don't know a whole lot about him. What I do know about him, he was a pretty solid college recruit. I believe he was a top 150 guy. He's a DN. Again, we seem to be pretty good at addressing defensive end and identifying him. Is that a player that Mike and company should look at and say, defensive end, let's see if he fulfills a need for us. Same thing with Zykevius Walker out of Auburn. He was a big-time prospect coming out too. Out of Auburn, or he's transferring out of Auburn. D lineman, so he could probably play inside. Major 4-star there. Bama player, Braylon Ingram, another defensive lineman. So obviously we want to address the trenches. Well, there's some guys who were pretty good high school players, got pretty good measurables. Again, don't know why they're in the portal. Again, I didn't do an in-depth on these players. I don't know the reason that some of these guys are in the portal, right? Um, but a couple guys maybe you check out and see if they bring anything to the table. Phillip Webb, linebacker out of LSU. Well, we probably could use more linebacker depth. Uh, so definitely spin the block on him. This one is actually really good. I think FSU should definitely look at this next guy coming up. And that Cincinnati transfer defensive back. He's originally from Alabama, JQ Hardaway, and he is built like the type of DBs they've been recruiting. You're talking about a guy that's 6'2", big body DB, a 4-star coming out of high school. Yeah, if I'm Florida State, you know, I would really take a look at this kid and get him. I would love to have that one. I think that one would be a good pickup. Um, I think that one would be a good pickup. And then another DB kind of built in the same mode out of Alabama, Kyrie Jackson. He's a 6'3" guy. Now I think from what I hear, Bama fans, excuse me, they didn't seem high on him. At 6'3", I would see if I put some weight on him and move him to safety. But just the body type is rare for a defensive back. And again, bring him in, see what he can do. But yeah, I think a lot of y'all like the JQ Hardaway guy. So I think we're all kind of in agreement on him. Tavares Dawson, an athlete at Auburn. I don't know what he played at Auburn, if he played much at Auburn. I think he's originally I think Tavares is originally from Florida somewhere, but I forget. So bring him home. Another DB that I kind of like, another big body, 6'2", Tony Davis out of Duke. He was a 4-star. JQ's the one that I like, but Tony Davis is another good one that you should check out. I would like to have him. Bama offensive tackle Damian George. Don't know if he's really any good, but again, another offensive lineman. I trust Atkins' evaluations. Check him out. See if he brings anything to the table. Colorado offensive guard Casey Roddick. Another one. Don't know much about him. Get Atkins on him. Check him out. Texas A&M edge player Elijah Judy. I would look at him. I don't know if he fits what we do, as he's more of a 3-4 end than he would be like a typical defensive end. But it doesn't mean you can't check him out, see if he fits what you want to do. Same thing with Demon Clowney. Same thing, another 3-4 end, more so than a true linebacker or a true defensive end with his hand in the dirt type guy. Two guys who are intriguing. Again, don't know if they really fit what Florida State does defensively, but maybe some talent that you look at. And lastly on this list is Texas A&M linebacker, who's another, probably out of all these guys, Dante Thornton, JQ Hardaway, Tony Douglas, and Ish Harris is the other guy. Ish Harris, now he's I won't say he's undersized. He's a 6'3" linebacker, 4-star. I just like his measurables. I like his length. Don't know how much weight he weighs. I think what I saw he weighs about 215. Hey, can he be sideline to sideline? I wouldn't mind checking him out. I think we got to add a backer in the portal because I think we lose one of them. I hope both stay, but I think we lose one. Go to the comment section, man, before we continue. See what y'all talking about. Cincy DB's legit. JQ looks good for real. Remind me of Sauce, body type wise, and he can run. JQ is from my neck of the woods. Same high school as Ross that went to Clemson. Do I think the Cincy DB is going to follow Fickle? It's a great question. I obviously can't. If he's smart, he don't. You hit the portal, man. Don't waste it on Wisconsin. Like, no knock to Wisconsin, but it's Wisconsin for a reason. If he's smart, you don't. If you're smart, man, you don't do that. That's just my opinion on that. If he's smart, there's no way he should be going to Wisconsin. I want the Cincy DB. He's a Michigan fan. Maybe Michigan. If he's a Michigan fan, I mean, maybe he wants to play up north. But I wouldn't hit the portal and waste it on Wisconsin. That's all I'll say. Man, we looked at wide receiver. Pittman, Wilson came in the elevated wide receiver. Probably not going to happen, but all the wide receivers can stay for depth purposes in different matchups against our opponents. Definitely trust Atkins when it comes to O-line. Ty says, I'm thinking a lot of the same guys he's been thinking. What about Nate? Any quarterbacks aren't really on the board right now, Joe. I mean, if Travis if Travis goes to the draft, then we can start looking at. But as long as Travis is on this roster, I'm not paying any attention. I'm not paying any attention to the quarterbacks. Just being honest. I don't think receivers a need, but I think if you can find the right guy, I don't mind taking one. Because honestly, I still think Florida State's trying to add another receiver at a high school. Right? But if you can get Dante Thornton, I don't think you need to take a receiver at a high school. That's your fourth receiver. So I still think they want to add a receiver. So that's why I threw, 2 receivers on this. No knock on Wisconsin, but it's the truth, Clayton. I'm just being honest with you. It's not really a knock, but it's Wisconsin. It's Wisconsin, man. I mean, what has Wisconsin ever? What's the best thing Wisconsin ever had? Ron Dane. I mean, it's Wisconsin, man. Last time Florida State played Wisconsin, and we drug them in the bowl game. What year was that? Like 06 or something like that. I mean, it's Wisconsin, bro. It's Wisconsin. Bama's wide receiver didn't answer portal. Is it Thornton? No, I'm thinking Horton or something like that. McCallum. Who's McCallum then? Who are you talking about? I'm not familiar with McCallum. Don't do Wisconsin like that. They have been very competitive in the Big Ten West. Holden, yeah, that's what Holden. Horton. That's what I called him, Horton or something, but I knew it was something like that. I'm sorry, Duffy's not ready. We don't know if Duffy will be ready come next year. There's a whole lot of time between December and August of 2023. That is a wild statement. That is a wild statement, but we'll see, man. I don't know what people have against. What do people have against Duffy? What do y'all got against AJ Duffy? Dang. Jesus. Melvin Gordon, okay. They've had some backs. I get it. They've had some backs. Horny, oh, God. If Kyler Murray can get drafted, so can Jordan Travis. Pretty girl, no. You're my girl, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about that comparison that you just threw out there. To be honest, I don't think a superstar QB is entering the portal this offseason. I think backups to decent starters will be in. Might be true. I mean, they're a JV football team, so of course they beat them twice. Was it 08? Okay, it was 08 we beat them. I'm with you, Corey. I'm with that. With Sam, so I think we should add about 3 DBs. With Sam leaving, you need more depth. I'm not so sure Akeem Dent leaves, so I didn't know this until I looked it up. Akeem Dent is a junior. Akeem Dent has a whole nother year of eligibility if he so chooses. I don't know if Akeem Dent leaves. He could be starting at safety again next year, probably next to Shaheen. Then you count on the obvious growth of the room just as a year older, year better, year stronger. They're adding in, I think right now, what do we have? 3 DB commits, Rawls, Jones, and Kirkland. I hope we add another, at least one high school player. And even if you bring in 4, I think Edwin Joseph might be the next guy they add there in the high school ranks. Talented player. I still think you should take 3 portal guys. I still think you should take 3 portal guys. One guy to potentially start for you at safety, or at least who's going to give Shaheem or Akeem a run. And even a guy who could start at one of those corner spots. Like, add some good guys where they're going to really push. I mean, I think we should bring in like 3 guys to play in the secondary. He wasn't ready to start as a true freshman, so obviously sucks. That seems to be the case. You like Duffy? I hope so. I like Duffy. I don't know. Some people said, I think Loading said Duffy will never play a down here. It's kind of crazy. Or he'll never start a down. A little bit. I'm not so sure about this comment either, man. You guys are having some wild takes tonight. Jameis was a 5-star coming out. I think a lot of people had a lot of high hopes for Jameis Winston. Oh, man. So I named a couple DBs. Tony Davis out of Duke. But the one I'm highest on as of right now is J.Q. Hardaway out of Cincinnati. What's up, Seminole J? Jeff Sims is in the portal. You think Omarion Cooper's going to transfer? Ouch. That's not a good look for us if that's the case. Field goal kicker. Honestly, man, I hear y'all on the field goal kicker. We don't need to be wasting the scholarship at that position. I really stand on we don't need to waste a scholarship at that position. That's just me, though. That's honestly just me. You don't waste a scholarship on that. Get Fitz right. Get the other kicker you got on campus right. Bring in a freshman. Bro, find a soccer player. Bro, there's so many options at kicker. Go find a rugby player, a soccer player. Australia seems to breed them like it's nothing. Walk-ons, bro, do not waste a scholarship on a kicker. I know, don't get me wrong, where kickers can win and lose you ball games. You really don't think you need a kicker until you need a kicker. I understand all of that. We can use our scholarships on some other stuff. I mean, he might, and AJ Duffy could be one of the next big-time quarterbacks at this university. Like, I don't know why we're so... Did Jameis really, like, spoil us to the point now where we think every quarterback's supposed to be Jameis Winston and be a redshirt freshman phenom? We do realize most of these quarterbacks take a couple, like, come on, man. Not trying to come for anybody, but I'm just saying, guys, have some patience with the quarterbacks. Look how, look, man, we've literally sat here and watched the growth of Jordan Travis. Have some patience with these quarterbacks. They really don't. They really don't like Duffy, man. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. They're writing the final chapter on Duffy already. I saw a Guayo documentary. It's all mental. Fitz was just probably getting his own way. I would agree with you. Most kickers have mental cases, so I don't disagree with that. That's why I don't want to burn a scholarship on a kicker. Like, fix what we got, man. Bro, a lot of schools do it. Most schools don't, unless the high school kicker is like legit. Like, most schools don't burn on a portal kicker. Like, not just Bobby, but most schools, your quarterback didn't touch the field till he was a redshirt junior. And if he was really good, then he would touch the field as a redshirt sophomore. You feel me? All the people saying kids these days need instant gratification are the same saying Duffy because they want instant gratification. Thank you, Tyler. It's crazy how that works. The same people saying, oh, these kids don't have patience. These kids want instant gratification. They don't want to work. They don't want to compete. This is the same people saying Duffy sucks. Duffy will never touch the field. Because Duffy didn't come in as a true freshman this year and be the next Trevor Lawrence or something. He's not the goods. Can we just relax on the quarterbacks, guys? Like I said, we just watched Jordan Travis for the last 3 years get better every year. Relax. Let's move on. Need to get one of those girls off the soccer. I don't care who we get. Get someone who can kick. And I'm with you. If it's a female, get somebody who can kick. Do I see Dix coming back? Well, Ray, since you bring it up, I do also have a list of players that I think are going to potentially hit the portal, right? Again, not players that I'm asking to leave, not players that I want to leave. Just guys that I think the situation, and now I didn't include walk-ons, but they could also hit the portal. They're FSU FSU has a position to fill this roster out. Because one of the things that we kind of need to address, if you actually go look at FSU's official roster, there's like one too many walk-ons. Now that doesn't mean those walk-ons play, but you got one too many walk-ons on the third team. On the scout team, use some scholarship players there. If your scout team's good, your team practicing against better scout team player, like, you guys get what I'm saying? If you go look at the roster, we're a little thin. We're a little thin. Our top, our ones and twos are pretty good. At some positions, our threes are pretty good. But again, you have a scout team for a reason, and those players are put in place to help your players prepare for the next team. And it doesn't help if they're all walk-ons. But I didn't include any scout team guys on this. I kind of included more so players that we know, who maybe just the situation calls for them to look elsewhere. And the first up on my list, he's really the first name that jumped out to me. I mean, there's some other names, but this name jumped out to me just because I don't know where he fits, and I alluded to him the other day. I don't know where Joshua Burrell fits anymore, guys. I don't know. I don't know where Joshua Burrell fits. I don't know if Joshua Burrell is a running back or a receiver. And unfortunately for him, both positions are absolutely loaded. Both positions are loaded with the potential to get even better. I mean, with the wide receiver room, you're already bringing in 3 high school guys, pending a 4th via portal or high school. The running back room, again, even if a Trey Benson goes to the NFL, Ward's not going to go. If Trey Benson goes, Atoa Philly ain't going nowhere. Rodney Hill ain't going nowhere. Keziah Holmes, oh yeah, he's in the back room getting ready. You're bringing in Singleton. I don't know where Burrell fits. And I agree with Irv. I was a huge Burrell fan. I just don't know where he fits. I'm not even sure he fits in the tight end room. You know? Can you move him to the other side of the ball? I mean, he's got the size to be like a linebacker, but is that his game? That might not be his game. So Burrell is one of the first names for me that pops up because, like Ardavius just said, I think he's just lost in the sauce. That he said, like he said, lost in the wash. He's just not a knock on Burrell at all. I just don't know where he fits, and it's really unfortunate. I just don't know where he fits, and I just don't know where Burrell fits. If any of you guys have an idea of where Burrell could fit, please share it. But I just don't see. Do you stick him at tight end? So I don't know. I don't know where Burrell fits. Next up on my list is Travis J. Now, Travis J is an interesting case. I'm not 100% sure he should transfer, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did, being what happened to him this year. Now, they black shirted Travis J, which black shirt doesn't necessarily mean anything in terms of eligibility. He'll still be a redshirt junior next year. He's a redshirt sophomore this year. But what the black shirt does mean, the reason I mentioned that, he was working scout team. Now, that's a hell of a demotion for a player who was so highly thought of as Travis J. So that could attribute to the portal. But then I have to ask, one of the things that I asked myself, well, that's even another reason to transfer if he didn't have the grades. He already has a year of missing because he was academically ineligible. So 2 of his 4 years, he's been academically ineligible. That's not a great look. I hope that's not the case. I haven't heard that. You're the first person I heard say that. He missed his first year here because he was academically ineligible. So again, let's just assume Ardavius is telling, I'm not saying you're lying, but that your information is accurate. Here, I'll say it like that. That's a whole nother reason to transfer. Moving to scout team, I was curious to know what they're doing with him. Is there a position change for Travis J next year? With Sam McCall leaving, does he jump back into safety? I do think if you bring him back in that secondary, I think if he comes back, doesn't transfer, and you're bringing him back in that secondary, I think safety's where you got to put him. Okay, I don't think corner's where he needs to be. I think safety's where you put him. But Travis J is a player that would not shock me if he hit the portal. Third name on this list that I got here, the first wide receiver is Darian Williamson. Now, Norvell and company, they did a great job, I think, this year. Something just doesn't add up with the Jarvis situation. Grades make sense. And if he's continuing to struggle with grades, I think the portal starts to make more sense for him as well. I think y'all would start to agree with that. Right. Um, but it's Darian Williamson. So reason I put him. Hold on, guys. Let me answer this. I think, and the reason I was preferencing this comment by saying Mike Norvell did a great job of really involving every receiver this year. And I feel like some games he went into the game with the distinct purpose of getting X receiver involved. And Darian Williamson was a contributor. I think he had a big game, but he also got hurt. And now you have to ask yourself, when it comes to Williamson, is he good enough to hold off the freshman coming in? Is he good enough to, let's say best case scenario, FSU gets Donta Thornton out of the portal. Is Darian Williamson good enough to hold off a guy like that? I don't know if he is. I don't know if he's good enough to hold off Hakeem Williams or Jacobs or Goldie. There's a lot of questions there. There's going to be a lot more bodies in the room come next year. The talent level continues to grow. Did Darian Williamson get the same opportunity that he got this year? I'm not so sure. And I don't know if he's good enough to hold off the players that are coming. Facts. They turned that thing around in one season. So with that being said, I thought Williams was solid when he was healthy, but again, would not shock me. Would not shock me if a Darian Williamson. And see, Irv's like, nope, I don't think he's good enough to hold these guys off. He might be. I don't necessarily disagree with you there. But there's a lot more names, There's more names, and we, it's going to be interesting to see with Williamson. And even if he's good enough to hold off Goldie, that's just one receiver. Winston Wright comes back. You expect, continued growth from some of these other guys. Man, it's just going to be interesting to see. I don't think either player transfers. For one, there's a rumor, which I would love personally. As a matter of fact, I kind of thought this coming out of high school, that Courtney might make the move to linebacker. I kind of need that to happen. I don't think they make that move though unless they feel pretty good about something that they're landing in the tight end room. But there's a rumor that Courtney make the move to backer, which I kind of think needs to happen. With that said, I don't think neither guy hits the portal. Next up on my list is a name we're all familiar with for sure, is Damori Tate. Man, we haven't seen him on the field. And at what point do we ever see Damori Tate? I mean, at this point, maybe Damori Tate just needs a new change of scenery, a fresh start. We've seen it. I mean, Landon Dickinson had kind of a similar problem to Damori Tate. He just couldn't stay healthy. He goes to Bama, gets healthy, gets drafted. Maybe Damori needs something similar where he just needs to get away. If you keep Damori Tate, do you consider moving him because he's dealt with his injuries? Maybe he's not the same athlete he was in high school, but is he still good enough that you can move him to safety? He's a big corner. Can you move him to safety to get him some playing time? The thing about Damori for me is I ain't seen the man in 3 years. I don't expect to see him next year, if I'm being honest with you. Hitting the portal probably wouldn't be the worst thing for him. Briley, I didn't even, okay, wow. Hold on. We're talking, he's a stud. He's the third best receiver in the room, more explosive and better hands than both McCall and Portier. I think you mean McLean and Portier. Williamson is going to have a big year. He's the third best receiver in the room. My question is, who do you think is the best receiver? If you think he's the third. Briley, I usually agree with a lot of things you say. Williamson is the third. You got Johnny Wilson, you got Micah Pittman, and you're going to have Winston Wright. That's probably your top three. You have a hard time showing me more. I don't think Williamson has better hands than Portier. Portier makes some great catches. I don't think he's a better athlete than McLean. If you don't want to count the freshmen, I understand. Freshman receivers take time to cook and season as well. I get it. I get that. If you don't want to include the freshmen. Like the only guy that I would consider him better than as of right now is Deuce Spann. That's because Deuce Spann's still learning how to play the position. I argue Deuce Spann has a way better or higher upside if Deuce Spann can put it together. Like I'm glad you're high on him. I just don't see where he's the third best receiver in this room. The man played every position in high school, Irv. He played every position for them guys. Did he? I didn't check that out. That's dope. Maybe I'm wrong about DeMarco. Yeah, that's what Mike King did. That man played every position in high school. Bro, I don't even think going back to Demore Tate though, like we were talking about. I don't think Demore Tate's played a snap. Yeah, he did get on it. But that's okay though. Maybe Tate can go somewhere and get on that whole juice. What up, Zoe? Man, we talking about Portal. So far, yeah. So far, we've talked about Sam, and we've talked about some portal targets. Now I'm talking about potential portal players, potential FSU players that could hit the portal. Now Briley don't usually troll. So I think if Briley's saying it, I think he honestly believes it. That doesn't mean I agree with it, but if Briley's saying it, I do think he believes what he's saying. I just don't agree with what he's saying. So Pokey won't be here next year. So I think that's why nobody included Pokey. Like I would include Pokey, but I think if we're talking about for next year, it's got to be John. I think it's going to be Johnny, Winston Wright. Now you might have me with Winston Wright because he ain't played in a year, but at least it's Johnny, Micah, and then again, I would take Portier over Williamson personally. You'll remind me. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. Again, guys, we'll do span. He's learning. He's learning. Who Demore? Did he play the UMass game last year? Did he? Wright has been practicing for a while now. No, man, we talked about McCall, and I think I did a pretty good job of keeping that as classy as possible. Hold on. Somebody just hit the Cash app. So I got to show them love, but I got to see who it is first. Who is? Man. Who is this in the Cash app?
Good night, Daddy.
Good night, Chico. Blake Roberts. Which one of you guys is Blake Roberts? Hold on.
Good night, Daddy.
Good night. Good night.
Look at that.
Well, whoever Blake, Briley. That might be Briley because it's orange on here and Briley's orange. So might be Briley. But shout out to y'all. He says for Gold Knowles, Blake Roberts with the $10 Cash app. Whoever that is, let your presence be known, or you can forever hold your peace if you want people to know who you are. Either way, I appreciate you. Shout out to you, Blake.
Clickety clank, clickety clank. The money goes into my piggy bank.
So shout out to Blake, man, for that. Let's move on. Let's keep moving on my list. So after Damori Tate, I got Steven Dix. I don't know how Steven Dix comes back from this injury. I had a lot of hype for Steven Dix his freshman year. He had a hell of a sophomore slump. And the thing that worried me about his sophomore slump wasn't that he just had the slump. It's the way Dix looked so bad last year that it's like Dix couldn't even tackle in space. Dix looked bad last year to the point where it's almost like either he wasn't healthy or he had no movement. Right? And I'm just curious to see how he comes in next year because Dix is going to have to show me. Like how Lundy showed me. But I also think adding Bethune helped Lundy be used in the proper way, which I always allude to. That's the thing. I think Dix got too much muscle, bro. I think that's his problem. You talk about the Incredible Hulk. That's what Dix is the guy. Right. He needs to he needs to get more flexible. Dix is the guy who you let get off the bus first. If you want to intimidate somebody, Dix is the guy you towed out there. Guy's got muscles on top of muscles. But when I'm talking about playing football, I'm not so sure. And because of that, I wouldn't be surprised if Steven Dix is just one of those guys that they say you're probably in your best interest to find another place to play. He's kind of eating a scholarship, and I don't know. Because Lundy's a beast too, but Lundy don't look like Dix. Lundy don't look like Dix. I don't think Dix has like an ounce of body fat on him, man. And all that stuff looks good. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know about Steven Dix. What's up, William? So I did talk about some players in the portal that we should target, but I talked about it earlier in the show. So you should just rewind it and check it out, bruh. But appreciate you for tuning in tonight. Dix is a future Mr. Olympia. Yeah, he definitely has a bodybuilding future if the football thing don't work out for him for sure. Next up on my list, man, is Jack. If we talk about tight ends, well, there's a tight end and that thing hits the portal. It ain't Powers. It ain't Courtney, who might be making the move to backer, might not. Again, that's a rumor. Don't know how true. And it's not going to be Marcus and Douglas. It's going to be Jackson West. Jackson West is the guy that's getting passed up. Jackson West is the scholarship guy that the staff's the staff, they rather use a walk-on in Preston Daniels. They rather use a Wyatt Rector before they tote Jackson West on the field. Exactly. He's still on the roster. And at this point, I'm pretty sure this staff has more faith in Jabril Powers and Brian Courtney. And they haven't even seen the field much either than they've had in Jackson West. If there's a tight end that hits the portal, expect Jackson West to be that guy. Moving on, Kentron, that's the other receiver that I would throw out there for kind of the same reasons as Darian. Even though I think Kentron is further along, where it comes with Kentron for me is is there going to be a point where he wants to be the wide receiver? So for me, I think Kentron hits the portal maybe for more selfish reasons, where he doesn't really want to be a part of the rotation anymore, and he wants to be featured. That's possible. I'm not saying Kentron's a selfish player, but all receivers got a little bit of diva in them. So, I mean, I don't think we should be shocked if that happened. But let me get to the super chat. How in the world is Miami still winning with recruiting? And they had a horrible season. That new car smell can't be the reason, and we're 9-3, number 17 recruiting. Help me understand. I got 2 answers for you. It ain't signing day yet, so you have no idea who that team signs. And I'm going to use the same excuse Miami was using for us a year ago when we had like a top 10 class, and they were like, man, these guys, and there's a lot of playing time to be had at Miami. Miami's legitimately talking about letting 40 guys go to the portal, which I think is the dumbest thing a program could do. But they're legitimately talking about letting 40 players hit the portal. There's a lot of playing time there. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not really worried about what Miami's doing. Because all of that, I'm going to lock down South Florida talk that they had. I want you to actually go look at who they're recruiting. Man, they're recruiting a lot of West Coast kids. Mario's simply building off the relationships he already had out West. He don't have any real relationships with these South Florida kids like they claimed. That kid that they just got last night, the California kid. They're not locking down South Florida at all. Mario's simply building off of what he had already on the West Coast. I'll worry about Miami when they actually start keeping the best players in Miami home. When they start keeping those guys home, I'll be worried about them. I don't really worry and or care about what they got going on right now. Just my take there. But shout out to Irv with the $10, bro. Definitely appreciate you. And I already know you want the dub, so here you go.
Yeah, get more money, more money. Yeah, get more money, more money.
Chambry Jackson is another. We're almost done with the list, man, and then we'll wrap it up here. You know, I don't usually go too long on these Wednesday shows, so we're going a little longer than we usually do. Chambry Jackson is the next name on this list, man. It's a guy that. So the plan for Chambry was always he was a DN. He wasn't quite a DN. Chambry was Joshua Farmer, but higher rated. But Farmer turned out to be the right move, and Chambry I don't think is turning out to be the right move there. And again, I talk about this defensive tackle room, which I think that's where you would include Chambry Jackson at. Tafasi's he's a real human being. Tafasi's a real human being. And Tavius Woody's a real human being. You still bringing back Jarrett Jackson, Malcolm Ray. I predict Briggs to go back inside next year. I don't think there's any room for Chambry. I don't know if the transition from DN to D tackle has gone the way they hoped. He's probably struggling to put on said weight. In 1 year, Joshua Farmer went from 265, coming out of high school, 299, 300. He made the transition. Chambry Jackson is listed at 278. I just don't think Chambry is gonna get it done. Might be best for him. Might be best for him to move along if he can't make that transition. And then I've got 3 more names, man. And I put some stars by these guys' names. You must have just joined. I'm not telling you who's leaving. I'm telling you who could potentially leave. Again, don't be naive to think that no one's leaving. We will have guys that hit the portal. We're simply speculating on who that could be. I'm not downplaying any of these players. I'm not saying that I want any of these players to leave. I'm not trying to push any of these players out. I'm simply giving you a educated guess on some players that we could potentially expect to hit the portal. That's all. No one's overthinking anything. We just talking. We having conversation. That's what we do. Football talk. Byron Turner. I say Byron Turner because that's another position that I think we're recruiting well. You know we're going to bring in at least one legit guy out of the portal. I mean, that's been the trend. Yeah, and you're bringing in POLK, and you're bringing in Lamont. Pat Payton has arrived. If Byron Turner, Byron Turner, man, you going to make the move or not? I just think that, that's a guy, right? That's a guy. George Wilson's another one. And that's mainly because I don't know if George Wilson has to put on way too much weight. He's listed at 215 pounds, and we're talking about this guy playing defensive end. George Wilson got to get up to 240, man, before he could even think about seeing the field. And then the last one is Toafili. And that's the name that probably hurts y'all the most. That's the name that you really don't want to hear. But I said it before, and I'll give Toafili the same reason as I gave Kentron. Maybe at some point Toafili just wants to be the featured back. Yeah, he's getting a lot of opportunities. They're using him in a lot of different ways. Is it potential that Toafili, man, just wants to be a featured back? So those are my guys that I think could potentially hit the portal. Let me roll back up and see some of these comments. No, we didn't have a top 10 class. I said at this time or at beginning of last year, we had a top 10 class. Who said Ward was hitting the portal? Oh, Rock Frazier said that. What's more exciting now, Old National Signing Day or Transfer Portal Watch? Oh, man, I think the Portal Watch is more exciting. I don't think that's going to happen. He was the ACC Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Nobody hit the portal, man. How many sacks does Pat get next year? Over or under 8? If he gets over 8, he's probably going. He's probably leaving. But you see even from a guy like Verse how hard it was to get over 8. So I'm gonna say under right now. Hold on a second. Nope, that's not what I want. Hold on one second, guys. I gotta address something real quick. Okay. John, you do know that tackle y'all have that he's not from Florida just because he goes to IMG. If it says IMG, bro, that doesn't mean they're from Florida. So your Francis, whatever his name is, he's not originally from Florida. Big Samoan dude. A lot of your, man. I mean, I don't even know. Honestly, don't know why I'm explaining this. But yeah, you guys, again, you guys have a lot of West Coast kids in your class. I know you just looked at 247 and said, "Oh no, we got a bunch of Florida kids," but it's not quite the case there. But anyway, let's move along. Bro, Verse. Oh man, you guys say some wild stuff, man. Injury prone? Do you guys think Verse is injury prone? Injury prone. Now, words have meaning. He had hurt one time. Verse missed how many games this year? One, and was on a snap count for somebody. Injury prone. Okay. We're all allowed to have our opinions, man. You already know they're the off-season champs. I think we take about 3 at a minimum. That'd be cool. That'd be dope. I'm all for that too. Every game he got hurt. The man finished every game but what, the Louisville game he finished. Oh, maybe he caught a cramp during a game and went down for a little bit. I mean, most of your trench players go down at least once a game. You get a person roll on your ankle. Injury prone. I mean, okay, Ray. I mean, you allowed to believe it, Ray. I'm just saying, y'all own one tonight. But thanks, y'all, man. I thank for the discourse, man. That chat home. I don't know, man. They own one tonight. I don't know, man. So I use 247's always kind of been my go-to. I'm looking at On3 more, only because they seem to update their information more regularly than 247. But I don't agree with all of their ratings on On3. But they kind of mirror 247. I think actually the owner of On3 was formerly the owner of 247 or something like that. So I'm starting to use On3 a little bit more. There's some things on there that I don't understand how they have their they have their NIL tracker, and I'd be saying to myself, how do y'all calculate this? But I'm trying to incorporate On3 a little more in what I do. Hurt one time and plays, yeah. But he's injury prone, Peter. It's kind of crazy. That's not a great source. Name one player Adam recruiter that's on our team. Great question. I don't have that. I would have to actually look. I don't know. I would have to look and see if Adam Recruiter was anybody's primary or secondary recruiter. Yeah, I McClendon would be a rotation guy if he doesn't hit the portal. I think Estes is going to be a part of this O-line next year. I don't think Estes hits. Schrader makes sense, though. I think Schrader makes sense. I think Estes is going to be in the mix next year. Estes was one of the first offensive linemen that they would bring off the bench, especially on the interior. Hell, on the interior, Darius was probably the first offensive lineman they would bring off the bench because he could play tackle, either tackle. I would say Estes was the second guy. If a guard had to go down, they were probably, if they didn't put Darius at guard, they were putting Estes at guard. They killing me, bro. I only got 40 likes. That's what I'm saying. That's why I can't get 2,000 subscribers. People watch me, don't subscribe, don't hit the like button. Like you said, I should have over, if I got 100 people in here, I should have at least 90 likes. The other 10 are just haters, and I'm fine with that. You trying to tell me I got over 60 haters watching me? That's crazy. Right. I don't understand how they do it. I don't understand how they do it. I agree, Will. I think that NFL track is just a bunch of made up stuff. I don't get it. All right, RJ's Fishing and Outdoors. Appreciate you. I agree. It wasn't bad. He just didn't make enough plays. I hate to say it, McClendon's MIG. Briggs was Briggs, I agree. Briggs was underachieved as well. What's up, Belief Beats? I ain't apologizing for nothing. Appreciate you, Seminole J. But that's all I got tonight. I went longer than I usually go on my Wednesday shows. I usually try to keep these at max an hour 30 because these are more of a podcast type than more so my live streams where I can go for 2 to 3 hours. So we're going to cut it here. I do think I'm going to do something this week. Yeah, I didn't talk about that UF quarterback, and I really didn't plan to. He's a sicko as far as I'm concerned. If you don't know, go look it up. I'm not even really going to address it. But the UF quarterback's a sick dude, and I don't know what's going on in Gainesville, but I'm not going to put that on. I mean, I'm not even going to troll it. Like, I'm not even going to put that on anybody. That's just a sick kid who needs help. And with all that said, hit the like button, guys. Hit the like button on your way out. If you didn't hit it on your way in, don't apologize for they're still mid. And as always, it is your boy POLK over here on 863 Seminole TV. I do plan on doing something this Saturday. It is championship weekend, so why not go live? I mean, all we got left is a bowl. Miami's already started their off season. Florida's got a bowl, but it's going to be the ass bowl. So we the only ones playing in a real bowl game, but I'm going to go live. Y'all know we're going to do these Saturday nights. Get Saturday nights popping like we always do. So by all means, come in, have some drinks, have some fun. As always, it's your boy POLK over here on 860 Seminole TV. Stay classy, Seminoles, and we at ya. Go Noles.